In our today's lesson, we are going to discuss the meaning of money, functions, and characteristics of money. We shall talk about barter trade and its limitations, definitions of concepts under money, and we shall introduce money supply. I welcome you to term 2. Hope we are all fine, no problem so far. So I expect you to be at home, always only move when it is really necessary. Please, the Ministry of Health is encouraging everyone to be at home, to wash hands, not to touch our tea area, that's the nose, the eyes, and the mouth. When you have not washed your hands, please take precautions. We are going to begin our term 2 by discussing monetary and financial systems. As far as we remember, we ended term 1 by discussing the multipliers. So this time we are going to begin from monetary and financial systems. Specifically, we are going to begin by discussing our subtopic 5 or unit 5 called money. So the objective of this subunit is that by the end of this subunit, you should be able to describe the role of money in an economy. This is not going to be your first time to talk about money. You discussed this in your entrepreneurship class when you were in senior 4. So this is going to be, I think, easier for us to navigate through this topic. So we shall have some additional content that we never talked about in senior 4, as we shall see. Generally, to introduce this subunit, money is anything which is legally acceptable for carrying out transactions and discharge of debts and payments. Money must be legal tender, meaning that it must be acceptable by everyone in the settlement and discharge of debts in a given country. Money is generally something that is acceptable, the settlement of debts and obligations. So money is anything. It can be a piece of paper, it can be a metal, or any other thing that is generally acceptable in the settlement of debts and obligations within a given country. For instance, if you look at the image of the 5,000 bill that is before you, you will see a word that says inoti imewe n'amategeko, meaning that this note is legal tender for Rwanda. So it is not legal tender for any other country. It is legal tender for Rwanda. That's why you have different notes for different countries. So each country has its own legal tender. So we are going to move on to functions of money. And before we move on, please allow me assign this task to Jorine. You are going to find out why that word legal tender is written on the currencies for different countries. So you have to give us feedback about what you have found out. So the functions of money are really specific. We don't discuss them as general knowledge, but by convention. So the first one is, it is a unit of account. This means that it is used as a unit of value for carrying out calculations and accounting procedures so as to effect even small business transactions. So being a unit of account is like if you are carrying out calculations, if you bought products and you're going to sell them, so how do you determine whether you have gained a profit or a loss? So it is used as a unit of account. Then it is a medium of exchange. Money makes it possible to determine the values and the quantities of commodities to be exchanged, hence facilitating business transactions. Money is also a standard measure of value. Through the use of money, the relative value or prices of commodities can be determined. Money therefore reflects the quantity and quality of goods bought in the market. Then we also have this function of store of value or wealth. When properties like land or buildings are converted into money terms, the money can be stored. This is because money is not bulky and it is not perishable. It can be stored for a long period of time. So if you have like a house and you happen maybe to travel outside of Rwanda, or you are going to be away for some time, instead of leaving your property behind, you may choose to sell it, put your money on the bank account. So whenever you come back, you can get your money, buy your property back, and go back in the previous position. So that's why we say that money is a store of value or store of wealth. And the last one is that it makes it possible for price mechanism to operate, since prices are determined in monetary terms. So in senior 4 we discussed price mechanism, and then we know that price mechanism operates in a free enterprise economy where price acts as the signal for resource allocation. So normally people, investors, or people who allocate their resources to productive activities, they are influenced by the price signal, since they are profit motivated. So they want to make profit from their investment. So those specifically are the precise functions of money that we can talk about. Okay, so let's look at the characteristics of good money. I know you have discussed this in entrepreneurship class in senior 4. Yeah, but we may remind ourselves about the qualities of good money. So I just give you the hints. You have to read and perhaps ask where you don't understand. I know you did that in senior 4 in your entrepreneurship class. So the first one is scarcity. Good money must be relatively scarce. So meaning that it shouldn't be readily available for each and every person. So it should be earned, not just be given. So people have to work to get money. They should sweat, and yeah, it should be earned, not just given. Then you have the concept, the principle of acceptability. Good money must be generally acceptable by the public for the discharge of debts, purposes for which it is needed. So generally money should be acceptable by the population. So if they refuse it, then government has to do something about it. I don't know whether you have some examples of some notes or coins which the public has refused to use, or shown not to be interested in using. I know we may be having some examples. Then we have the principle of homogeneity or uniformity. So good money should be identical. Like we shouldn't have currencies of the same denomination, like parallel currencies circulating in the economy. We should have a single currency of a given denomination circulating, not different currencies of the same denomination circulating at the same time in the economy. So like if you took the note, the 10 notes of 5,000 and you put them on the table, and then you try to look at them, then you have to see that all of them are identical. They look alike. So that one is a quality of good money. Then you have the concept of convenience. Money should neither be too heavy nor bulky to carry. So money should be made in such a way that it does not inconvenience people to carry. It should be light, and people should be able to move with it freely. To continue with the characteristics, the other one is good money should be easy to divide into smaller denominations. So like maybe Divine will tell us how many denominations that we have for any currency in the next class. So good money should be divisible into smaller denominations. So that enables even small transactions to take place, like 5 francs, 10 francs, 10, 20, 100, and so forth. So if there are no small denominations, some transactions cannot be effected. And then another characteristic is that good money should be difficult to forge. Common people shouldn't have the ability to make money. It should be a monopoly of national bank. So if money can easily be forged, then it does not qualify to be good money. Another characteristic is that it should be identifiable. So like if you got money and you mix it with maybe other documents, someone should be able to identify which document or which paper is money. So that is another quality. So those are some of the characteristics of good money, but also it should have value. Good money should have stable value over a long period of time to qualify to be good money. Now we have talked about money, but before the existence of money, there existed barter trade. This is something that at least you have learned before. So barter trade generally is the exchange of goods for goods or goods for services. So I want you to find out the limitations of barter trade, since money came as a result of the failure of barter trade to meet the qualities of good money. So that is your exercise. Please find the limitations of barter trade. May include some of the following. It is not easy to establish the double coincidence of wants which satisfies both parties. So that is to say, it is difficult to find one party who exactly has the commodity you want and who wants a commodity that you have. So the challenge of double coincidence of wants exists under barter trade. So next is a challenge is it restricts the number of transactions that could take place in the economy. This limits development of the country. So with barter trade, transactions are limited. So few transactions are made as compared to when cash would be used. Next is it is difficult to measure the relative value of one commodity in terms of another commodity under barter trade. So it's hard to tell whether this product is worth how much of this. So generally it is difficult to determine the value or the relative value of one commodity in terms of another commodity. Another challenge is that it is difficult to store commodities for future exchange, especially when the commodities are highly perishable. For example, agricultural products. Most of the agricultural products are perishable, so we can't store them for future transactions. We are going to discuss definitions of concepts under money. So I'm going to take out some concepts that I think may be very, very new to you, or that they cannot be easily understood. I'm going to explain them, then you give me feedback on other concepts. Even what I will explain, what you don't understand well, you tell me, I will clarify. So I'm going to begin with telling you what about token money or representative money. We are going to take an example of a coin of 100. A coin of 100 is token money because its face value is not equal, is less than its intrinsic value, or the metal from which it was made. It is not worth 100 Rwandan francs. The face value is greater than its intrinsic value. So such money whose face value is less than its intrinsic value, or the material from which it is made, it's the one that we refer to as token money or representative money. It was made in such a way that its face value is greater than its intrinsic value to prevent people from using it for other purposes. For example, if the metal from which 100 coin is made is worth 100, then some people may use it for other purposes. Maybe they can melt it and make ornaments or jewelry or some other things. But now, if they melt it, they will be losing because the material from which the coin is made is less than its face value. So that's how government is able to keep people from using money for other purposes. It makes the value on its face greater than the material from which it is made. So that's the common type of money that we have today that is in circulation. It is called representative money or token money. The second type is what we call full-bodied money or intrinsic money. This is money whose metal value is equal to its face value. This is money in terms of metal value. For example, gold, or can say copper, or any other precious metal like maybe copper, gold, and some other metals like silver. If it is made in such a way that its face value is equal to its intrinsic value, or the value of the material from which it was made is equal to the figure or amount written on its face, then that money is called full-bodied money. But it ceased to exist after Second World War, when the world agreed on the new monetary system, as we shall see, when the gold standard collapsed, as we shall see in future in our discussions. Then another type of money is what we call commodity money. It is money in terms of the value of commodities. For example, beans, in terms of cows, in terms of corn, and so on. So if someone is paid in terms of corn, in terms of cows, in terms of beans, then that one can also be a form of money, but for it it's called commodity money.
Welcome to the Investors Trading Academy Talking Glossary of Financial Terms and Events. Our word of the day is fiat money. Money has no intrinsic value and cannot be redeemed, but it's made legal tender through government decree. All major paper currencies are fiat money. The value of the fiat money depends on the strength of the issuing country's economy. Inflation results when a government issues too much fiat money. Fiat money is currency which derives its value from government regulation or law. The term derives from the Latin fiat, let it be done, or it shall be. It differs from commodity money and representative money. Commodity money is based on a good, often a precious metal, such as gold or silver, which has uses other than as a medium of exchange, while representative money is a claim on the commodity rather than the actual good. The first use of fiat money was recorded in China around 1000 AD. Since then, it's been used continuously by various countries, concurrently with commodity currencies. Because fiat money is not linked to physical reserves, it risks becoming worthless due to hyperinflation. If people lose faith in a nation's paper currency, like the dollar bill, the money will no longer hold any value. Most modern paper currencies are fiat currencies, have no intrinsic value, and are used solely as a means of payment. Historically, governments would mint coins out of a physical commodity such as gold or silver, or would print paper money that could be redeemed for a set amount of physical commodity. Fiat money is inconvertible and cannot be redeemed. Fiat money rose to prominence in the 20th century, specifically after the collapse of the Bretton Woods system in 1971, when the United States ceased to allow the conversion of the dollar into gold.
Okay, let's look at what we call fiduciary issue. Fiduciary issue is money issued by the central bank, but which is not fully backed by gold reserves or foreign exchange reserves. In the past, notes and coins were fully backed by gold. That part of the notes issued above the amount of gold held in the fiduciary issue, or if, for example, the bank has gold worth of 60 billion Rwandan francs, but issues notes and coins worth 90 billion Rwandan francs. So the 30 billion Rwandan francs is the one that we refer to as the fiduciary issue. So by principle, the central bank to print and mint paper notes and coins, it should consider the amount of gold stock and foreign exchange reserves available in the country. So the amount of money that should be printed should be equivalent to the value of the gold stock and the foreign exchange reserves available. However, if the central bank prints excess money which is beyond the value of the gold stock and the foreign exchange reserves available in the country, that extra money printed is the one that we refer to as the fiduciary issue. Then you have what we call the deposit money or the bank money. Simply, this is money held by the public as balances on their demand deposit accounts at commercial banks. We have other forms of money. We have what we call hot money. This is money in liquid or in cash form. We have what we call cash or near money. This is money which can easily be converted into cash, for example, checks, postal orders, etc. Then we have what we call dear money. This is money borrowed at very high interest rates. There is what we call narrow money. This is currency circulating in the economy plus demand deposits, or sometimes we refer to it as M1. Then we have what we call broad money. This is the sum of currency in circulation plus demand deposits plus savings and time deposits. So that one we shall see when discussing money supply. It is called M2. And then there is what we call nominal value of money. This refers to the monetary or the face value of money. For example, 1,000 or 500. So the face value of money is the one that referred to as the nominal value of money. Other concepts that we may talk about money, we have what we call real money value or value of money, and this refers to the amount of commodities a unit of money can purchase. This depends on the general price level. The higher the price level, the lower the value of money, and vice versa. So our real money value is given by taking the nominal value of money and you divide it through by the price index. So another concept is foreign exchange reserves. This is a foreign currency held by the country's central bank. So the amount of foreign currency reserves available in the country, refer to it as foreign exchange reserves. Another concept is what we call convertible money or hard currency. This is currency which can be exchanged for other currencies, and it is internationally accepted in carrying out transactions. Examples we have the pound sterling, we have euros and dollars, United States dollars, and even among others. So we have what we call a soft or managed currency, or this is currency which is used only within the country and cannot be accepted in carrying out international transactions. So you can take examples of Rwandan francs or Burundian francs or Kenyan shilling and any other form of okay, let's now look at money supply. As the word says, supply. Money supply refers to the amount of money circulating in the economy at a given period of time. So this is money that is in the hands of the public. So normally money supply is referred to as money in cash and in the pockets of people, and the money on demand deposits, like on savings accounts and the current accounts, which people can access at any time they wish to buy products in the market. So money supply is divided into two. We have what we call endogenous or automatic money supply, and then we have exogenous or discretionary money supply. Endogenous money supply refers to money supply which is determined by the level of economic activity in the country. For example, the level of output and the level of interest rates. So that money that is generated as a result of the normal functioning of the economy. Then the exogenous or discretionary money supply is money supply which is determined by the monetary authority. Take example of the central bank or the Ministry of Finance, and it does not depend on the level of economic activity. Okay, now we are going to discuss determinants of money supply. We said money supply refers to the amount of money circulating in the public in form of cash, but also on money on demand deposits in the banks. So demand deposits, we said, they are accounts where people can withdraw money at any time that they wish and then purchase products on the market. So the case in particular is the current account, where individuals can access their money freely throughout the 24 hours of the day, or money on credit cards and then even on debit cards. That one we refer to it as money supply. So you have to read about money types of money categories of money supply. We have M1, we have M2, and M3. So next time we meet, you have to give me feedback about that. So the determinants of money supply, so like the factor that influence the amount of money that we have in circulation. So the first one is amount of money printed by the central bank. If the central bank prints more money, then there will be an increase in the money supply, and the reverse is true. You have the balance of payment surplus or deficit. When the export earnings exceed import expenditure, money supply increases as a result of excess foreign exchange earnings and in the country, and vice versa. Then you have the level of credit creation by commercial banks. We shall discuss credit creation, but generally credit creation is money lent out by commercial banks. So when there's increase in money lending in the economy, then that means that more money will be put into circulation through the credit facilities. Then you have level of economic activity. When the economy is functioning well and the business community has gets market for its sales products, or if the purchasing power of the public is high, then money supply will also increase. And we have activities of open market operation, which involves buying and selling of government securities. So if government increases or sells security to the public, we know that that reduces money supply, and then when the government buys back its securities, it gives back the money to the lenders or people, the members of the public that lent money to government. Okay, before we go to the level of monetization of the economy, let's try to discuss briefly about capital inflow and capital outflow. So capital inflow refers to amount of money coming into the country in form of investment by foreigners. So when you have more money coming into the country in form of investment by foreigners, then that one will increase the money supply. However, if we have more capital moving out of the country, like in the form of profit repatriation by multinational corporations, and even rich nationals investing in foreign countries, then our money supply will be low. Okay, let's now go to the level of monetization of the economy. So the greater the subsistence sector, the lower the money supply. So, and the higher the level of monetization, the higher the level of money supply. So when you have a big subsistence sector in the economy, that one will make the money supply to be low, and then where we have a small subsistence sector, money supply will be high, meaning that most of the transactions will be effected by use of cash, or individuals will have to go to the market and buy items that they will need and do not produce the items themselves. So our next point of discussion is the amount of gold reserves held by the central bank. So we know so far that the amount of money that should be printed and minted and put into circulation should be equivalent to the amount of gold stock and foreign exchange reserves available in the country. So the more foreign exchange reserves and the more gold stock that we have as a country, then that will give the more we will be able to produce or to print and mint paper coins and notes. Then you have manipulation of the bank rate. So we have not yet discussed the bank rate, but this is a tool of monetary policy. Bank rate is the rate at which commercial banks borrow money from the central bank. So when the central bank increases the bank rate, then that discourages borrowing, since it will increase the interest rates. And if the central bank reduces the bank rate, that will promote lending by commercial banks, since clients from commercial banks will be able to access loans at low interest rates. And in our last not least, we have the level of reserve requirement. this is the amount of bank deposit which the commercial banks have to deposit with the central bank. So they had the legal reserve requirement, the lower, the money supply, and vice versa. So we shall have a better understanding of these concepts when we discuss monetary policy.